Hey there, welcome to Spice Files. This is Mike. I'm joined once again by my good friend Dave. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, Mike. Great. Happy
Awesome.
to be here.
Yeah, we're joined today. So we're going over the Winter Derby spicy deck photos, and we're joined by Adam Mercado. He was quote unquote the Secretary of Spice for this event, which is a pretty good name, I thought. Yeah. So how you doing, Adam?
I'm doing okay.
Awesome.
Doing okay. Right now, I'm Sister of the Flame, and I'm moonlighting as a Brine Hag now. So it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, you moved up into Brine Hag's territory.
Yeah,
there.
it's my after hours job. So
well, after hours, right? Because you also have this Secretary of Spicing to do.
Yeah.
So what was in general? What was your process? I know in years past or derbies past. I don't know how Dave's how many other people have helped him. I guess is what I'm getting at. So maybe you two can shed a little bit of light on how this derby went.
And I can start. I mean, historically, this is always a super heavy lift, especially as the derby has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. So for those who might be coming to this fresh, we should maybe just say, like, if this is your first Spice Files video or your first whatever old school Spice report or something. So the Winter Derby is the latest installment of a tournament series that's been run every 6 months, going back now like 4.5 years. It's a webcam tournament that's kind of gotten bigger and bigger every time that we've done it. This time around, we had 375 players representing 27 countries and 13 different time zones. So it is extremely international. I mean, really part of the frustration or part of the joy of the derby is having to hunt people down, who are on the other side of the planet from you, so you can play some old school. The point is to kind of go out of your way to play against them, and in that way, we're making new friends all over the world, and we're kind of knitting the fabric of the old school community more tightly together. I mean, old school is such a mosaic of different clubs and different rule sets, different ways of doing things. But the idea is that every 6 months we all get together and share the same kind of experience. So there's always a lot of spice in the derby. This time, just the sheer volume of players and people involved. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's like more than 1,400. It was somewhere between 1,400 and 1,500 actual unique matches being played over the course of this thing. And so I had a lot of help this time. So I had Åland Johansson from Sweden, and I had Levi Baumgardner, and I had Top and Lockwood helping to do data entry with the match slips. And then Adam here stepped up to the plate in a huge way by checking in all the deck photos that people submitted and combed through them. So I like to joke that my process, usually whittling these down, if you take hundreds of deck photos, is if you see a serendipity, you can just delete it and move on. But I'll let Adam kind of talk through how he sort of whittled down his short list.
Yeah, I did the derby. I played, and then after the first batch, I was a miserable 0-4 with a deck I'd never played before. So I kindly dropped in checking these deck lists. So I got to see everybody's decks and evaluate them and judge them in my own mind, but then kind of pick out what I saw as like interesting tech or unique cards that we don't usually see, or I put a lot of work into how the deck looked and what they wanted to present for this massive event. So it was a lot of images to look through. And yeah, discarded every, basically workshop and, lion did bolt I saw.
Yeah.
But we got a good mix here, I think. We narrowed it down to a nice pile of fun stuff. So It should be good.
And I should say that Adam is not just like some guy that we brought in off the street. I mean, he has been around for years now in the community. He's got several like Spice Awards to his name, a lot of feathers in his cap. So he was extremely well qualified for the job. This is not something that we we take lightly here at Derby Central. So anyway, so Adam brought you and I, Mike, like a tray full of like 16 or 20 or so
16,
decks. 16, okay. And then so we have distilled. These were really hard choices. There is more spice than even those 16. Obviously, there's a lot going on, in a pool of 300 something decks. But spice files being what it is, we only have so much time in the show. So we are going to feature, I think, 11 decks today. So 8 that are like spicy and interesting brews that we'll tack on, and then 3 that we just have to show you because they're cool.
Yeah, they're cool
for different reasons. Anything else that I have left out? Otherwise, we can jump right in, huh?
Yeah, we can jump right in. That's fine by me.
Yeah, ready to go.
Sweet.
Okay. Well, the first deck that comes comes to us. This is called. Now I have to. Okay, it's called Bloody Ball Bots, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's from our mutual friend, the Flying Bear, Jason Schwartz, who splits his time between Serbia and Kansas. Obviously a staple of the international old school scene. Can see him across the table from you pretty much anywhere old school is played in Europe or the United States. And what is going on with this?
I mean, the thing that jumps out to me first, to be honest with you, is actually the unsummons. They're just a card that you don't see quite as often as maybe some of the other things. There's Strikes and Suchis and Lightning Bolts and stuff, right? And but the unsummons are kind of cool because they work well with Ball Lightning, obviously, and they also work well with Triskele, and you can just like reset your Trike.
Yep.
So stuff like that seems pretty cool to me. Obviously, there's an Abyss component to this, right? Everything that you're playing doesn't care about Abyss, but.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things happening here, right? So this is like a Ball Lightning combo deck with the Animate Deads. It's a Blood Moon deck. He's got 1 in the main, 3 in the side. It's a Robots deck to a certain extent with the robots and the abysses. But I really like that you kind of keyed in on those unsummoned. It is a modal kind of Swiss Army knife in a deck like this, right? There are tempo advantages that you can get by just unsummoning your opponent's creature. Maybe you need it. Maybe you need to do that to like attack with Ball Lightning, right? Maybe they're a first strike creature, something weird. I don't know. Yeah. But otherwise, you can reset your stuff. You can keep Ball Lightning from dying. You can reset your Trike, etc. Are those Clockwork Avians?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You can reset those bad boys too without doing the ridiculous mana tapping thing.
Adam, what did you see?
Yeah, I mean, the unsummons and Ball Lightnings popped out first, and then it kind of, your eye branches out from there into the plan and going, oh, this kind of touches on everything. To me, it was like a shotgun, where you're constantly just putting new shells in the shotgun. Right? That was just like a reload, basically. That's what I thought about. I was surprised to not see Coffin in here.
Yeah, Coffin's interesting with Trike, for sure.
Because you're accelerating with the Vault, and you have Elwar Stones and all the power, so it would be something easily to cast, and you could have another plan just to throw the Trikes or the Avian or in there and constantly get them back.
Yeah,
but it would just be a supplemental thing to the plan. But man, the levels of the avenues here are plentiful.
Man, I love these altars.
Very aggressive.
I'm just admiring some of these things. The Trike altar on the mountain, and the like the Zeppelin, the funky kind of bird on the other Avian. Obviously, the ball sack on the Balls Lightning.
The Balls Lightning.
They're in front. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I was going to touch on playing the artifact that you just mentioned, Adam, which now I'm blanking on the name.
Coffin.
Thank you. The only downside of it is it doesn't work with Ball Lightning, right? Which is maybe why you didn't include it. But it obviously works with...
Returns the creature tapped, right?
Right, so then you can't attack with it. But like you mentioned, it goes well with Trike and that sort of thing.
Now you could save your Ball Lightning with it, though.
Does Coffin... If you Coffin a Ball Lightning and you twiddle it untapped in your opponent's end step, then I think you can get your Ball Lightning back. right? Because ball lightning, does it trigger, like, does it say, like, this dies at end of turn, basically, at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice ball lightning or something like that?
Right.
So that way you can untap with a ball lightning. That might be the only way that you can untap with a ball lightning in this format. Anyway,
Yeah, that's
does
cool.
that work the way that I think, right?
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Because if you're twiddling the coffin untapped, the guy comes out of the coffin, right?
Right.
That seems right. Yeah.
And then he comes out untapped. Or sorry, he comes out tapped, but it's already into your opponent's end phase or end step.
Yeah. So he won't get sacked. Yeah. You could do it some other ways too. If you can bounce the coffin or have it leave play somehow, that also works. So you could like Hercules it back or boomerang it back or something.
Yes, when it leaves the battlefield, it becomes untapped.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so Hercules is probably a much more reasonable combo piece in this deck, like with the Triax and the Manifold and stuff, than a random twiddle just have it. Don't go with your coffin. Anyway.
But unsummon is just cutting to the chase, probably. Like the coffin is, you have to jump through more hoops, right?
Right.
And the unsummon's just kind of do what you're looking for anyway.
And I like the sideboard plan here of just go full red after that. Switch the plan.
I love Blood Moon. Well, you can pull. Yeah, right. If you're mooning, you can pull your like your unsummons and your maybe even your abysses. Bring in the dragons.
Yeah.
I love this deck. Cool layout too.
Yeah.
Altars are great. Well done, Schwartz.
The altars are pretty sweet. So. All right.
Okay, next up is a deck from Brian Limbacher of the Order of the Ebon Hand, which I believe is like Cincinnati area. He's a Spice Master. He loves his deck photos. He hosted the deck photo competition around Halloween last year. All around great player. Came really close to the center of the maze in the Maze of Ith event the other day. Also, great guy. And this deck is called Jux and Wish for Luck. So there's a juxtapose package and some other things happening that he's helpfully sticky noted.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice thing to do.
And yes, we have dibs in a deck that is considered spicy, so we did break our rule. But the multiple plans here and the way they're split up is pretty sweet. I mean, obviously, you have your play blue, and he mapped it out. He kind of made it like a Chains of Mephistopheles, cheat sheet card on how to read this, right?
A flow chart.
B to C. Yeah, flow chart. But I just like the idea of giving someone. So you're giving someone a Djinn, right? Basically, hoping that they have in the islands they got a ditch. I mean, that's the way I read that.
Yeah, you can give them a Serendip Djinn, which will start eating their lands apart. You can give them a Spent Triskelion, like a 1/1 Trike.
Yep.
Which is kind of common because it looks at casting cost for the juxtapose purposes, right? Yeah. You can also just give them a Serendip Efreet, and you're on the other side of your maze. So the dib is just kind of slowly eating them alive. Or either you're behind your maze or you're behind your own main deck Cop Blue.
Cop Blue. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious. But just giving them one of these like self-harm or otherwise useless creatures. I'm very sympathetic to that plan. Oh, I just noticed. Sorry, there's so much going on here with these little helpful notes and stuff. I just saw written across the disenchants. It says "fuck Blood Moon." Yeah, Blood Moon is a problem for this deck for sure. He's got two basic planes and a couple moxes, and otherwise, that's pretty much it. So he is susceptible for sure, and I don't think. So question for you guys. Where's his sideboard?
Is that
it's the top left?
The stasis. Okay. Yeah, all that stasis stuff in the corner is the sideboard.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It might also just be better if he doesn't like Blood Moon, a whole lot, then maybe some of those board slots should just be blue blasts just to help with that. Because some of that stuff you don't. Like maybe that Wrath is extraneous for the stasis plan, you know? Just so you can hedge a little bit more on fighting a Blood Moon if you really feel the need to.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the reason why I asked you guys where the sideboard is was because I was looking around for the blue blasts.
Yeah.
Like expecting to see them, but.
Something else I noticed is there's the boomerangs that he is the 2 in the main deck, right, which kind of go along with the stasis plan after your sideboards, but they're pretty cool when you're playing Juxtapose also, right, because you can just give them something and then you can bounce it back to your own hand.
Back.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I could even see just playing more of that kind of thing in Juxtapose lists, like if you're on a mono blue type of a Juxtapose list, like, or like his, where it's really base blue, has a lot of blue going on.
You kind of build your own control magic that way, like permanent, undisenchantable control magic that way.
Yeah.
Which is pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. It's quite fun to play, though. Gotta say.
Yeah, it looks like a blast. One underrated deck photo technique is I'm noticing that outside of his mana base, all of his cards are unsleeved, and you can really see the colors and the altars and stuff pop. When they're not double sleeved. Like it reduces the glare, everything gets more vibrant. I know Adam likes vibrant colors. Altars are cool too. I think that's
cards.
Is the Soul Ring like a Brossard or something?
Yeah, that definitely is Dustin's work right there. For sure.
And the Chaos Orb, is that the thing from Doom? The Kako Demon or something?
It could be.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's a little hard to tell. But yeah, that's a cool altar. Yeah. And then I do really appreciate the sideboard plan because oftentimes on Spice Files we talk about wanting the spicy decks to they need to not just be simply cards you haven't seen before, but also have a lot of avenues of play, right? And that's really, at least for me, is kind of part of the part of the deal, I guess, if you're looking to play something spicy. And so you've got, the boomerangs are really serving dual purposes here. And then they really probably, to be honest, get even better when you move to the stasis plan because you really need, they're like a critical part of that plan, right?
Yep.
And there's something to be said for a swapping plan rather than hemming and hawing at every last piece of removal you can put in the sideboard that you might need and just say, we got plan D and I'm just going to bring those all in. Yeah. And you don't have to think too much. It's just make the decision and jam it,
Yeah.
Well,
I appreciate that.
Another cool thing is if he suspects, I don't know, if he sees bottle in game 1 or suspects bottle in game 2, he can just pull his Arabian creatures and pop all the, Howling Minds and Stasises and whatnot in. Mm-hmm. Even the angels are great with stasis too, clearly.
Yeah, what is the sideboard plan? The sideboard plan is cut the dibs, cut the juxtaposes, cut the trikes, and the Serendipgens?
Yes. Yeah. That gives you,
12 cards?
12 right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And
probably leave the... Yeah, you don't need the Wrath, probably.
Oh, you don't need the Cop Blue then at that point.
You don't need the Cop Blue for sure, yeah.
Correct, yep. What else are we missing?
Maybe you cut it could be some number of lands.
Do you need Time Twister with stasis? No, right?
Not really. But you also have factories
Last resort,
and stuff.
But yeah.
You don't really need those, maybe. Yeah, it's hard to tell quite exactly what the full transfer room is,
But all that sounds about right.
Yeah, something along those lines. It's pretty cool.
Really cool. All right, nice job, Brian.
Yeah. Next up, we've got...
This is Jeff Denart, who is based in, oh my gosh, now off the top of my head, is he in Arkansas? I think he's in Arkansas. We'll go with that. Jeff is awesome. He's a staple in the various webcam leagues. He's part of the old school Twitter sphere, etc. And this thing is a masterpiece. This is a Leprechaun Ward deck with a transformational Eureka sideboard plan. Heavy green. Packed to the gills with various color change shenanigans and synergies. And then, I don't know what you board in against Leprechaun, but then he brings in a ton of robots. And Channel which is just fantastic with stuff like Colossus of Sardia and the overlap here that's cool is like Force of Nature is really the link between those two archetypes, right? Because it works with the Cop Green deck. Obviously, Cop Green turns Force of Nature's upkeep from green into just one colorless, and then it's a great Eureka, fatty also.
Yeah, I look at this list; it's really elegant. I don't know, even the layout, the way he did the deck picture makes it look really good. And I like the sideboard choices for Eureka. Like those Clockwork Beasts are really, really fun over the standard, just legends or other big fatties. It just makes it all look very cohesive for a completely pivotal plan. Just take a pivot, go into the elegance of the big artifact creatures, and use one that everybody loves, but you don't see that much. The Clockwork Beast. And if you've been on the receiving end of a Leprechaun deck and they get firing, it is incredibly frustrating and hilarious at the same time. So I do appreciate this deck a lot. And Force of Nature's in it, so how can you not like Force of Nature?
So what is the sideboard plan here? I assume the center 12 cards come out, right?
Yes.
Yeah, good assumption.
Plus maybe the Cop Greens or something. I'm not totally positive what the last 3 cards are, but I think it's certainly those first 12 cards and then 3 other things. Like maybe you still want Cop Greens because I'm sure you're leaving in the Force of Natures and the if-biff freeze.
Cop Green is not super practical with if-biff because you're paying green and 1 for like do 1, prevent 1. Which is not terribly efficient.
It's true.
I think you're probably pulling the Cop Greens, or maybe like leaving 1 in.
If you have a Eureka plan, it doesn't matter. You're going to hit him for whatever you throw down. So
that's true. Yeah, but like he doesn't have the whole Concordant Crossroads thing going on, so he'd have to pay the Force of Nature upkeep if he needs it to have lethal. Like he might Eureka it out.
Right. I think at that point, if you're putting down a few beasts and a Force of Nature, I'll take the risk to take the damage to get another turn to just swing with everything personally, especially with Trikes.
Yeah.
But yeah, this looks.
Wait, what'd you say, Adam?
I said I think it looks like a really fun deck.
Yeah, for sure.
Fun.
It looks awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, I like that we've got these transformational sideboard type decks. I am always tempted to do this in things like in 1.5 decks I've built or whatever, just various different things. And sometimes I do it, other times I don't. It's hard to know when it's right, but it's definitely fun to think about. I think when you're building a lot of different decks, it's a cool thing to do.
Agreed. All right. Awesome work, Jeff.
Next up,
we have this one comes to us from Thomas Ashby of the Toronto old school scene. He's handily given us a title here up at the top: Rasputin's Bizarre Odyssey, and a lot of different ways of using Rasputin and his mana and his his ETB trigger and whatnot. And a great deck photo. Very, very clean layout. Easy to see what everything is.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so many things going on in this list, to be honest.
I'm right now. I'm looking at everything, trying to all right,
let's find them all.
Let's find them all. As far as the non-land cards go, right? I mean, he has 3 Sage of Latinams, which obviously go pretty well with a lot of the various pieces that he's got in here, right? I mean, you can sack your spent Trikes, your Mana Vaults, various other stuff to draw more cards. Can even sack that Obelisk if it's maybe not helping you right now because you don't have a target to bounce. But the Obelisk is another thing to mention, though, right? I mean, it does cool stuff. It's a little expensive to to activate, right? It's 6 mana, if I remember correctly.
Not in this deck though.
Well, true, I guess, yeah.
Not really. It becomes basically a nice little easy bounce spell for you.
Yeah,
with all that
true.
extra mana. So
you get how many counters does Rasputin come in with?
7?
7?
Yeah.
7. Okay. I see.
It was those 2 cards. It was the Obelisk and the Howl that I immediately saw and thought, man, those are interesting ways to spend all that mana.
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't have to be any color, doesn't matter. So, colorless is fine, and go to town. You can use it on casting trikes. You can use stuff put the Howl on a spent trike and make it massive again. There was a lot there. So yeah. I know that I think Jeff Luce played a bunch of this in the past, right?
Something like it. Yeah, and Florian has played around in the Rasputin space. Maybe we should explain what Rasputin does. So it's not a super commonly seen card, although it is, I would argue, one of the better and more playable legends. So it's a 6 mana 4/1 creature. It costs 4 white, blue. When it comes into play, it gets 7 counters on it. And you can do different things with these counters. The main thing that you can do is remove a counter to add a colorless to your mana pool. So you pay 6 mana for this thing, and it immediately gives you essentially 7 mana to play with, like as a rebate. And then the other thing you can do, it protects itself too. You can also remove a counter to prevent a damage that would be dealt to Rasputin. So that's a neat and kind of underrated aspect of this card. And as long as he is untapped at the beginning of your turn, he very gradually regenerates counters. You get 1 new counter every upkeep if you started the turn untapped. But you can't have more than 7 counters at any time. So there's I don't know. There's a lot of shenanigans and things that you could do with this. With like X spells, Fireball. You've got Howl from Beyond here. And if you can, bounce them in and out of play, you can start netting mana gradually.
There is no Fireball, actually.
Yeah, it's just
as I know this is now. Just the Howl.
Just the black Fireball, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
So,
but I mean, you're gonna have something left over, right? Like you're gonna have a Sage of Ladinam left over. Who knows? Something. Yeah, you can attack with that. Attack with
Rain Geyser.
Yeah.
Draw some cards with it. Pretty good.
It's just even the play of 6 mana, play this guy, and immediately slam a trike down. It's an amazing rebate. It's actually very, very strong.
And then he's even left with a counter to not get bolted.
Bolt would still kill him.
It prevents 1 damage.
It prevents 1 damage. Yeah. But he can't be timmed or something like that.
Psychic
can be red, though, fortunately.
Yeah. And there's so many little things here. Like you can coffin something and then eat the coffin in response with the Sage, right? You can eat Tetravite tokens. You can eat a spent Triskelion. You can eat a tapped Mana Vault. Is it Hercules anywhere?
No.
Oh, okay. I think I want to see a Hercules in the mix somewhere. But
yeah, I can see that.
Got the Time Elemental on the bottom, which is sweet too.
That's such a cool card.
Nice little utility card there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of kind of mid-ranginess to this too, right? He's got a lot of these, just efficient removal spells like the swords, the disenchants, the divine offerings, and whatnot. He can pressure you, with the cats and the juggernauts. Yeah, he has. I don't know. He's just got a lot of powerful one-ofs, like the random one-of control magic and mana drain, that kind of stuff. But the core of it is this really interesting, just set of interactions around Rasputin. It's kind of a neat and very versatile pile of cards, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very cool deck.
Yeah. All right.
Next.
Yeah. Also from the Toronto area, although I think Owen's moved around a bunch. I don't even know where he is in the world right now. But anyway, this is Owen Fletcher. Also from the old school Twitter sphere. Very thoughtful guy, enjoyer of the jank, and it probably doesn't get jankier than the flying carpet pit scorpion deck.
Poison counters, yes.
Yeah.
And this deck is called Snakes on a Plane, but the plane is Dominia.
Correct. That kind of plane. Got it.
Yeah. It works. It works both ways. You see.
Yeah, I love this deck. I mean, I saw the snakes and I was like, this is a spicy. Spicy. I tried this once and it was really fun to see if you can get to 10 of them, but it never happened. I think the farthest I got was 8 before I died. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, to see that and then thinking, oh, you got the warriors, and the wand in the corner sold it for me. You know, I don't think I've ever seen that card played. But
I mean, this is the shell for it.
Yes, this is definitely the home for it.
You need to make your 1 power 4 mana creature unblockable, and wand and dwarven warrior are definitely the ways to do it. Yeah, no two ways about that.
And I like the carpet.
And the carpet, of course, yes. I like that. Okay, so Void Fate makes a ton of sense here. This is sort of like, it's in a weird way, it's a combo deck. It's not like it's creature based combo. It's not aggro or anything like that. It's not tempo. Void Fate really is at its best when you're trying to protect a combo. You don't want to lose a key permanent, one of your pieces. And it also has like these early creatures that can basically stall. Right, he's got the Will of the Wisps, and the birds can block too if they have to. Like he needs to be able to get up to, 3-4 mana to even start the process of sending in tiny creatures, making them unblockable, and hoping to do that 10 times. Or wait, actually,
it's really hard.
Sorry, the snake is 2 poison counters, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh my gosh, it's like Infect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see that, it's still hard. It's still really, really, really hard. And that's so enticing to see the 2. But yeah, no, it's very hard.
Also, my favorite color combination in old school, which is Jund. Just a marvelous, kind of fusion of these different colors that do some pretty. I mean, green and black are probably the worst colors in old school, and seeing them work together is always a pleasure.
Don't forget the Viper costs 4, so it's a 1/2 that costs 4. So it's a trap, as they say in Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
But it's cool. You can like crumble your generator if you need to. Yeah, there's ways to gain some life and keep the game going.
Yeah, I like that.
Even the books, if you have to, you can bring those in and start to try and get more stuff out to create more snakes on a plane.
Yeah, one thing you're not worried about is factory here, right? Because you either have these unblockability effects or you just can crumble them with all 4 crumbles. I like that. Yeah, I've got 2 main deck terrors to deal with bigger stuff.
This is making me think that maybe there's a deck that really plays more of the Serpent Generator game as like the long-term win condition.
Kind of like the way the deck can win with the Hive.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
and then you don't care that you like swords all their giant creatures like Burnhams and stuff, right? It just doesn't matter. And then you can play other things that are more efficient, like Crumble and whatever, It's just kind of a interesting thing to think about. Yeah, and that can still be like can still play the Abyss, right? Because for some reason these snakes are artifacts.
That is super weird.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying it was 2021 is the year of the deck with Serpent Generator.
Yeah, that's the win con.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're winning with the deck, you can win pretty much any old way that you want. The Wasps at least fly, but I mean, if you're making 1,000,000 serpents, sure.
Mm-hmm.
That works too.
But yeah, it's a cool deck. I have a one random Taunos' wand sitting in my collection that's never done anything before. So at least someone got a use for it. I have yet to play it.
Very good use of alpha and beta Dwarven Warriors too. This is the deck this is the Dwarven Warrior shell. For those who were wondering about that card in 93-94. Is that a 3-mana 1/1? Am I imagining that?
The Dwarven Warriors? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, I'll have to ask Owen if he did kill someone with poison counters. That's kind of the achievement that we're looking to unlock here. Adam says he hasn't managed to do it, but I want to shake the hands of whoever's done it. Yeah, it's pretty hard.
Poison tribal might be the hardest tribe.
And that means a lot coming from Adam. We tried pretty much everything at this point. Yeah. All right. Well, nice job, Owen. Hope it came together for you. Cool deck.
Yeah, very cool.
Okay.
All right. This deck comes to us from Ben B. Goes by 4 and black bordered on the old school Discord. He is out of Germany, I believe. And this is a mono green Cyclone Living Artifact deck. Obviously, I like this deck so much. First of all, mono green
color.
Yeah. Second of all, just does so many weird things with these enchantments that do not see a lot of play, but can be sneaky powerful in actuality. In some funny ways. Now I know, Adam, you said you had seen something like this deck before.
Yeah, I watched Andy Baccaro be the wizard that he is and play a Living Artifact Cyclone deck. It had some white in it, so it did have like disenchants and swords in it. But he piloted that, and watching him play is like watching a painter do their work. It is something to behold, because you're like, how the heck can you even survive with that? And then his whole board state has pretty much his entire deck out as he's rifling through all of the triggers and everything to do. But it's pretty sweet to watch Living Artifact go off when you actually have that down.
Yeah.
Which you need multiples to do. With
multiple Living Artifacts, your opponent, if you've ever played against Living Artifact, the first one you kind of laugh at, and the second and third one basically start to build up this like shell of impenetrability, almost like a force field, basically. It's just like, how is this thing like gaining my opponent back so much life? Because the way that it works is like, if you do 3 damage to them with a Serendipity Free, thing gets 3 counters, and they're going to get all of that life back over the next 3 turns if they live that long. But if they have 2 out, you hit them with the dib, they get 6 counters. So they're going to gain back 6 life over 3 turns.
It's insane to watch in person.
And it adds up and adds up and adds up. They only gain a life per Living Artifact per turn, but there's no limit to the number of counters that can stick on these things. And chances are they're putting those Living Artifacts on your moxes. So you can't even like 2-for-1 them by destroying whatever artifact it is. It doesn't matter. Like it's very weird. Like it doesn't matter which artifact it enchants. It still has the same effect. Very, very strange card. And so the idea here is with the Cyclones, you're causing. You have basically a. It's more than a mini hurricane, right? It's a mini inferno because it kills ground creatures too, right? So you're basically self-harming, but then gradually gaining that life back anyway. You're walling off with these mazes and the ices and whatnot, and then just slowly grinding them out with like a cyclone that gets bigger and bigger. You're eating all those creatures with drops of honey. You're gaining a ton of life through Living Artifacts and Ivory Towers. And then for, a cheeky finisher, he's got like, 12, is that 17 forests that he can turn into 1/1s with living. Oh no, that's not living lands. That's living plane, right? So all of his
Living
lands.
plane.
Yeah, even better. Okay. I'm like, oh, he's got forest for living lands, the bad one.
When you have towers, it doesn't matter. You can take damage. You're going to get back more if you can't cast anything. So,
well, it combos with the cyclone, right? Because you can kill all their lands and yours too, I suppose. But but yeah, you can living plane cyclone and clear the board of all lands.
You've overloaded their disenchants by far.
Yeah.
Here. So one plan is going to work here, or one direction is going to eventually do something to help you get the win. And you got the nice little skull orm just to bring stuff back.
The skull ties everything together for me. That's like what put this deck over the. I'm like, whoa, and he's got a skull, right? Because he has all these funky enchantments to bring back the living artifact, and bringing back that's a 1-mana enchantment, right? So it's not even that big a deal to pop, to bring it back with the skull and replay it, in the later game. Living artifact, the drop
or living artifact,
and drop actually does something here, where like usually you're like, man, this should not be, it's not really that good, but here it's wonderful. Great card for this. Perfect.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, you could even play an Arborea in this deck, maybe.
I was looking for the Arborea. Yeah. I agree with that. The only challenge with Arborea is Arborea plays better with instants. When you're playing Arborea, you're doing a lot on their turns so that you're not putting the shields down.
Sure.
If all your stuff is enchantments, you have to do everything in your main phase, and it doesn't make Arborea as attractive.
That's true.
I love some of the sideboard cards here too. He's got the extra living plane, the Thought Leeches. Is that what that card is called? The things.
Power Leech, no?
Power Leech.
Yep.
What's Thought Leech? Is that from like Ice Age or something? Okay, Power Leech.
No, it's from Antiquities. Oh, you mean Thought Leech? Okay, that's another set. Yeah,
some other set. Okay.
Yep.
Power Leech. Thanks, Adam. That's the one that like gains you life when the opponent taps artifacts that they control or something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, if he sees artifacts, a lot of artifacts on the other side, bring some of those suckers in and just keep. The idea is like that you have all this passive life gain that you don't have to do anything for. Like once the permanents are down, you can just sit back and just like if they're playing burn, heaven help them because you're going to get out of reach. You're like every living artifact and power leech and whatnot. Ivory Tower just becomes like a 2-for-1, a 3-for-1, a 4-for-1. You know what I mean? Like it's
Factory's
amazing.
2. You gain 2 life for a factory because you get a life for activating it and then for tapping it to attack.
Oh, it counts on. Well, no, it's not an artifact when they are activating it.
But it says, well, I guess you can use it for if they have 2 factories, you're going to get the life. But yes, it's good versus factory.
Yeah.
Sweet card. I think it's a little underplayed from the green stash.
Power Leech, yeah, I agree. It just you need a shell like this. I mean, this is the perfect place for it. You have all this other weird passive life gain stuff going on, and yeah, you can just like put yourself all the way out of reach if they're trying to burn you out or aggro you out. So
I hope he maybe did recorded some matches so you can see some of this in action because seeing it is what really makes this deck stand out to you.
Yeah, like once everything's kind of flowing.
Watching it flow is really cool. Really, really cool.
The one other thing I was thinking about here is, how in like the tax tower lists, they often play like a ton of Sylvans so that you can just like draw a billion cards, and then you have Library of Lang, so you don't have to discard them. Like, I wonder if there's a variant of this that you can do. If you have so much ability to gain life, you can really use Sylvan as like a real draw engine. Yeah, just something to consider.
Yep. Yeah, great point. Cool. Well done, Ben. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Okay. Getting down to it. I think couple more, and then some specials at the end here. This is Jaime Cano's Vercursion deck. And Jaime is from Spain, and he is like a vintage ringer, right? Isn't he on that really good Spanish vintage team? I think I've seen his name. over the years.
I do not know.
I saw his name. He threw his hat into the ring to the Derby for the first time. I said, "Oh man, like Jaime O'Connell's playing in this. Like he's gonna just like destroy everyone with I don't know some like really tuned like Grixis counter troll thing or the deck or something like that." And then this photo comes in, and I'm just like, "This is even better." Like he was dropping some matches in Batch 1. I'm like, "What's going on with Jaime O'Connell?" The answer is that he was playing this deck, and having, I'm sure, like an awesome time with it. So hats off to him for really putting in the time and thought into trying to push Enchantress and see what he could do with it. There's a lot to unpack in this pile. What jumps out to you guys?
Oh, I'm actually. I think you might be the most versed in Enchantress here. I looked at this and my head started to spin, and kind of like figuring out like if I played this level of spice to me is like I don't even know where to begin. Like I would not know. I'd be terrible to pilot this. So it's above my pay grade in my mind. and you can kind of show the paths, and I'll probably pick it up. As you do that, it's just there's a lot going on.
Yeah. I was going to mention one thing real quick. So from a history perspective, this is actually like a variant, like a 93-94 variant of a deck that like Mark Chalice played, I think, in like 95 or 96 or something like that. Like he had more sets available to him when he played the deck, so there were other cards in it. But like he had like this recursion deck with Enchantress and Dance of Many's and stuff. So it's like a play on that deck. I recently read about this because of this Maze of It thing, and I was trying to build a combo deck for it and figure out what I could do. So I stumbled upon that on the internet actually like 2 weeks ago. But anyhow, so we can talk about it, but it's just very reminiscent of that deck, like with the Fast Bonds and the Dark Hearts and the Dance of Many's and Enchantresses. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the basic idea here is to start tearing through your deck. Playing extra lands out with Fast Bond, gaining a bunch of life with the Dark Heart. As you play these very cheap enchantments, Fast Bond, Wild Growth, Paralyze, Dance of Many, Copy Artifact, Sylvan Library. It's got 3 of those. You're drawing more stuff, playing it out. And then he also has this. Mana Flare is another enchantment. He also has this Candle Flare package to start just generating huge quantities of mana. And I'm talking about all these different pieces. I'm trying to see how he wins. Maybe it's just a huge brain geyser.
I think it's geyser. I was looking for fireball or anything, and geyser's the only thing I could see as a real. It's
geyser in which he can recur with Time Twister, Recall, and Regrowth. Right? That's what we're going for here, basically.
That's really it. Yeah.
That's the perfect storm. Okay. There's just like a lot of little cool choices in here, though. Like the one of Winds of Change. Like if you draw in a whole pile of either slower things like non-enchantments that you can't keep committing, or you have too many lands, you don't want to play them, you can just pitch everything, draw a fresh set of cards. That's pretty cool. He has Dance of Many. A lot of the, I know that like when I've played Enchantress, the card that you struggle with the most, that you have to kind of find an answer for, are factories on the other side, because you can't like slow them down with enchantments. Outside of like stuff like if you're in heavy black, like Blight and I don't know, Eagle Presence and stuff like that. But he can like copy a creature, and if he needs to kind of wade into combat a little bit to protect himself for a turn or two, to try and gain traction with the combo. Copy Artifact is just an all-star. Power Sink is interesting.
Maybe you just want to tap them out a little bit, right?
You're generating a ton of mana, you want to tap them out. Yeah, like Mana Short can kind of do a similar thing. potentially. Anything from the sideboard that paralyze against like aggro or something like that. You just want to slow them down. He's got the really efficient like blasts, some counter magic, and crumbles. Like I said, factory.
One thing I noticed was maybe this is a lack of experience with this particular deck, but like there's no channel in the deck, but you have like the ability to like dark card your lands and then gain a bunch of mana that way, right?
Yeah, I was looking for like a fireball and like a mirror universe or something. There's like a couple combo pieces that are right on the fringe of this. I think he just really, really, really wanted to kill people with Brain Geyser.
Yeah, I mean that's reasonable.
But now you're just doing an all roads lead to Danny Friedman. So when you add those things and you add one Felden's Cane and call it a day.
Call it a day, just win the cane.
When you've done it and seen it all, sometimes you just want to win, without a win con, basically.
I mean, so there's like that avenue, but also at the same time, Dave and I don't think Adam played in this, but Dave and I played in the Mazavith thing. I was playing a combo deck, right? Like a Titania Song combo deck, right? And so I kind of went through some similar like thoughts about like, well, do I put channel in this Dark Heart deck, right? And eventually I ended up cutting it there. And part of the reason was because I really wanted in my final version to like take multiple turns in a row. Rather than like do everything in one turn, because I got more value that way, like out of my cards. And so maybe that's the same thing that's happening here, is he really doesn't want to be trying to sack a bunch of lands in one turn to like try and add more mana to his mana pool. He can just, time walk and take another turn and then use all those lands again, right? Because he's already got the mana flare out and that sort of thing.
Yep.
So that's probably just the better line, I guess.
Yeah.
But,
really cool pile, extremely challenging to pilot.
I'm sure.
But also just the upside there is it's immensely satisfying if you can get it to go off even a couple times in a tournament. Super, super fun. Yeah. Great job, Jaime. I love looking at this.
Really cool.
All right.
This deck is funny.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so this is from Christian, oh my gosh, Rinkia Andersen from Denmark. And just sidebar here, we had so many freaking players from Denmark in the Derby this time around. I think like Denmark had like the highest number of players like per capita or something in the event. We had 26 Danes, which I believe is the second most out of any other country. Okay, no, third after Canada. So the US, then Canada, and then it looks like Denmark was third place, which is, if you understand like the size of the country of Denmark, just how impressive that is. I don't know, like they like literally recruited every single Danish old school player to come out for this event, which was awesome to see. And they have like there are from the Danish like list of players, there are no fewer than like 8 or 9 different team names, which is also like super funny to think about. Like they all have like their little different clubs or like sub sects of the Danish old school scene. Someone will have to explain that to me at some point. Yeah, and a lot of good brewers in Denmark, and Christian Christian really blew you guys away with this one, huh? This is, I think it's the Leviathan and the Metamorphosis that sold it for me.
I saw Leviathan and I'm like, this speaks to my heart. I mean, that's a creature that everybody loves and just goes, how do you play this, But you always want to, because it's freaking amazing. It's 10/10, right? It's awesome. But man, I just like this dive into the green-blue space. With the instill energies, and the Metamorphosis was another card that you don't see too often. But yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. through the Sinbad Sylvan combo.
Yep.
And obviously your Suchis have to be there in this meta, but it's that Leviathan. I'd love to see that card in action in this deck, just to see that hit the table.
You may be asking yourself, as I just did, what does Metamorphosis do? And it's a card that I have looked at when I was trying to spice, and then I eventually settled on a really good card, which is Reincarnation. This is not that. Metamorphosis is a 1-mana sorcery, just green mana. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you sack a creature. And when you sack the creature, you add X mana of any one color. You pick a color, where X is 1 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. So you get a rebate on the 1 mana that you use to cast Metamorphosis, which is very considerate. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. So the idea here is Suchi gives you double mana when you metamorphosize it. If you cast Metamorphosis on a Suchi, you get back 4 colorless and then 5 of any color of your choice, which helps you get up towards the mana necessary to cast. Is Leviathan? What does that cost? Like 8 blue or something?
I think it's 9 mana.
9.
Oh, 5. Sorry, I was wrong.
It's exactly the right mana to cast it.
That's right. 5 blue.
Yeah.
9 mana, 10/10 creature. But yeah. So, okay. I was thinking of the wrong card. Okay, so I was thinking. I said Reincarnation. What I actually meant was the card Sacrifice from Black. That's an instant.
That you had tried out.
That I had tried out. Yeah. With Suchis, like Sacrifice Suchis and Fireballs. That's like weird Suchi combos 101 basically. Also a pretty good shell and Junt. But anyway, this is a Metamorphosis deck. This is not that. The point here is that Sacrifice gives you black mana. But if you want to cast Leviathan, you're going to need Metamorphosis, sorcery speed, creature sacking, and casting.
I'm just looking at Leviathan. Like, in order to actually kill your opponent with Leviathan, you have to sacrifice 8 islands. Right?
How many do you sack?
You sack 2 to untap it every turn, and 2 to attack, right?
2 to attack, then 2 to untap, then 2 to attack.
Yeah.
Which is why we have Instill.
Yeah, okay. That's right.
That helps.
That's right. Yeah. To cheat around that part of it. That makes sense.
Yep. We can also instill our Sinbad if we want to do it again.
Sure. He draws you more islands, right?
Yep. Yeah, right. And we can instill our Suchis if we want to attack with them. Or never mind. That doesn't make any sense. No, don't instill your Suchi. Don't do that. Okay. So what was I going to say? Control magic. So you can control magic or what do you call it? Old Man of the Sea, the opponent's creature, and use that as a Metamorphosis target.
Yeah, that's cool.
Attack a creature that you can control. Then you can ramp into, I don't know, a Suchi, or I guess get you some of the way towards Leviathan. I don't know how big the creature is that you're control magicking, but
yeah, I wonder how many times they actually just hard cast the Leviathan without having the Metamorphosis. Gotta get to 9 mana, right?
Yeah. What do his swords counts look like? I don't know. It doesn't look like I'm just kind of eyeballing it. It seems like he's on like a typical amount of mana, like 25 or something. Mm-hmm. I haven't actually counted.
I want to say that, like, there's no, I don't see, he's not playing like all the power, which kind of makes like all the Moxen, right? Because I mean, he wants more islands and stuff, which makes sense. So he just has the on-color Moxen.
Yeah. Green and blue, by the way, like, for my money, like the spiciest color combo in old school. They just do a lot of funny stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's stuff that you don't normally see. The cards interact in a weird way.
It's another deck I would like to see like a recorded matches from, just to see where it got to and what the regular lines were and what the dream lines were if they were obtained,
right.
But you just don't see Leviathan. It's just such a cool card to actually see in a deck list.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so I eyeballed it saying 25 sources. It looks like he has 24. Yeah, sort of like an average number of sources in Swedish. 24, 25 is probably like the median.
Yeah.
So he's not like, he's going to have to like work pretty hard, like shredding through his deck with Sinbad or just metamorphosizing Suchis basically in order to cast those big old fish. But I hope he did. I hope he got to attack and kill his opponent with a Leviathan at least once. Otherwise, I guess he's got the sneaky Mirror Universe Sylvan kind of backdoor, alternate way of winning kind of plan.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Pretty cool.
You can also recall some islands back if you ever need to.
That's true. Yeah.
And I will, before we leave Christian's deck, I will mention that he is from the Long Island crew of Denmark. There are many. I'm not like, okay, guys. From Denmark, there are the Copenhagen Juggernauts, 2 players listed. The Drain Life crew, 6 players. The Floral Spasms, 1 player. A team called Like a Worm, WYRM, of course, 4 players. The Long Island crew, Team Halfdane, Team Orcish Artillery, Team Pirate Ship crew, Team Tron, which is like Simon Rockya and those guys, the Storm Brothers, and the Masters of Presence. And then 4 more Danes ungilded. Like what is with all these little team names?
That's pretty cool.
It's gangs of New York over there.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's like there's like some balkanization in Denmark.
Long Island crew from Massapequa, Denmark. Yeah,
Oyster Bay, Denmark. Yeah, for sure. All right. Anyway, we've said our piece on the Danish. Christian, your deck is awesome. Thank you for playing Metamorphosis and Leviathan in the Winter Derby. All right, so now we have 3 like honorable mention-y type awards. These are 3 noteworthy decks. I don't know if you want to call them spicy or just like things that made us go, yeah, we need to show this deck.
We should say something at least. Yeah.
We cannot let this opportunity pass without celebrating these 3 offbeat or otherwise notable or interesting piles.
Yeah.
The first one comes to us from the most recent winner of NoobCon, from NoobCon 11. This is, of course, noted Bond villain Martin Lindstrom, aka Fluffy, giant shark holder. Actually, double shark holder.
Double shark holder.
Yeah, amazing. This is a Singleton, the deck essentially, with but made of only cards that appear in Alpha.
Right.
Unreal.
Using Alpha cards where economically possible, but his collection is insane. And it's it has all 9 dual lands that appear in Alpha. Of course, that means you can't run Volcanic Island, despite this being a heavy blue-red deck.
Yeah,
actually,
that's funny.
after Tundra, Volk is probably the duel that you want the most. But he's following the rules. And this is just beautiful.
Yeah,
it's amazing. I don't even you hinted at it, Dave, early, and then when I saw it, I just was like, what? Like, not only that it's Singleton, but that the results put up with it.
Well, he went 4-0 in the first batch.
It is insane to me.
Yeah, he 4-0'd the first batch, and as we're recording this, the second batch is still pending. So we don't know where exactly he's going to end up. But this is a top-notch player, spiking like hell. Like I can assure you, within a very spicy set of self-imposed constraints, which is like exactly that is like the most old school, it's a philosophy that we really try to, design around when we're organizing events, like promote whenever possible. It combines both spike and spice perfectly. like to give yourself rules like this, and then try to do your utmost to win every match, just within those guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't plug this in to see like the curve or anything, but it's impressive in a world where we want to jam as much removal as we can, especially the good removal, like swords and disenchant and stuff. And here you got one. Like it's about timely use and understanding your situations and utilizing the tech. I mean, he's diving into Wall of Swords, and like, that's where he's diving into as the next tier of good cards or decent cards to use with utility.
Right. Exactly.
Which is impressive.
You can't have a bunch of Divine Offerings and a bunch of Blue Blasts in your sideboard. Like, where do you turn? You turn towards Prodigal Sorcerer. You turn towards frickin' Karma, Mana Barbs, like for the mirror, right?
And he has a 13-card sideboard because he's not playing Giant Shark. They're there for a reason. That's right. So
my God,
these are all levels.
When does that time ball come in, and how does it work? I know. Yeah, it's amazing. I just need to pocket a term. But Steel Artifact main deck is such a great heads-up call. Like it's basically
Red Blast main deck. I mean,
Red Blast main deck is not even.
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. He's got every. Does he have Remove Soul? I'm just looking at his counterspell suite. Okay, I don't see Remove Soul.
No, Remove Soul's from Legends, right? Something.
Oh shit! Yeah. Right. Yep. So he can't play Remove Soul or Flash Counter or anything like that. He's literally Spell Blast.
When you actually think about this and think about what the pool is and what are the cards that are somewhat useful, whatever tier they may fall in, it blows your mind more because you're
it's amazing. It's amazing.
Like, you got good cards in there, but they're all ones. And how do you utilize that with the dual lands, which across the board really obviously maximizes the diversity of the mana package, but you're not having 4 of certain lands like you would normally streamline. So it just adds to his wizardry of Bond villain. It's amazing.
I can look at this for a long time. But maybe we should just leave it here. Hats off, Fluffy.
Yeah, well done.
All right. Next up in the special.
This seems like a work of art.
This is a work of art. Can we call this the most? I don't know, the prettiest, the most pimp, the most customized. So this comes to us from Raja James of Team Sirius and the Cleveland Rocks, ROCS. And the name of the deck is I Dream of Signed Cards. So check out all the SIGs. This is obviously a, I don't know if you want to call it stock or stockish Underworld Dreams combo. But what we're really interested in here is the altars, the SIGs, the deck photo layout. I mean, I love how the deck photo, he has it laid out like within the frame, like the wooden frame of this table, like up against those kind of vertical rails on the left and the right. Like everything about this is just beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's aesthetically pleasing. And actually, the thing that actually popped out to me the most are those howling mines. Yes. I mean, like, there's tons of cool stuff in there, but those are like, I've never seen any like that before, and they're really cool. They have like a set like that where they're clearly all
Four Seasons howling mines, and the howling mines are like portals to the other side, sort of. Yeah, and I love how they kept the eyes also.
Right.
The wheel is very nice too. That wheel is incredible.
With the lich on it.
Yep.
Super cool.
So cool.
I
think he did well with this. He was doing well with this, which is nice to see a Dreams deck.
Yeah, I think he was doing really, really well. Let me check. It looks like all right, second match he went 3-1. And in the first, this is great content here.
The keyboard noises add to the greatness of this content.
No, okay, so he 4-0'd. Holy shit, he's in the playoffs.
He's in the playoffs.
Yeah. I should have known that off the top of my head. But he went X and 1 with this. I mean, it's obviously a very, very good deck. Like this is an established archetype. This is a very tuned list. But do well and look great doing it. I mean, hats off, Raja.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
All right, and that brings us to the final honorable mention here for noteworthiness in deck photos and deck design. This is Sean Augury of the Bristol Brinehags, a sub brand under the New England Old School header. As I had mentioned before, from the Connecticut region. Okay, so the theme of this deck is Dune, like Frank Herbert, right? Isn't that the guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
That I know.
Frank Herbert, Dune. Also the movie with the guy from Twin Peaks, and I think they're remaking a Dune, right? Isn't that a thing that's going to happen pretty soon?
I also heard that, yeah.
Anyway, so Sean, we were talking about this before recording, and we're sorry that neither myself nor Mike nor Adam really know that much about Dune. So we are not in a position to appreciate your labeling of things like the God Emperor on Vivictus, or Shai Hulud, which I think is like a big sandworm or something, on the Elder Landworm. Is that what that card is called? The 4 white 5/5 creature that just kind of sits there and does nothing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's a defender, but it loses defender if it blocks.
All right, so
After it blocks.
go build me an Elder Landworm Siren's Call deck, I guess. Okay, so anyway, this is a 4-color Eureka deck with all these legends and such, but the legends have been renamed to various characters in the Dune mythos. You see Lady Jessica and Dr. Yuen and Muad'Dib. We're really sorry. I feel really bad that we're even doing this.
No. I mean,
I don't know these characters.
I think the thing to really just say about it is that, like we've obviously seen Eureka decks before, but there's like a whole level of just care that went into this deck.
Yes.
The deck photo is just very well laid out, and there's essentially like new flavor text added to these that are Dune related, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's very cool and clearly like a work of passion, and we thought we should at least call that out, right? It's really cool to see.
The cool thing is that the Legends package, he has a lot of Legends that are actually, some of them are pretty useful.
Some of them are reasonable,
or mostly playable.
They've got big bodies too.
I don't think Lady of the Mountain is unplayable. And Jasmine's pretty sweet, and then you have Rasputin, Falconer.
Zanastian, yeah.
Yeah, he's just basically another Sol Ring to hard cast them if you need to. Later on you have obviously Bartel is really good, and Stang gives you 2 of them. So like there is a lot of usefulness in those creatures when they do hit, and you can get free swings with your Livonia if they have a library out. Mm-hmm. Which is cool. But I saw Visions and I saw the Landworm, and I was sold. And the and him, all the altars and all the things that he likes to do with his spice level, which is next level 40 chess kind of spice. That's how his brain works.
All right. Question about the Visions.
Yep.
Is the Visions here for mechanical reasons, or is it a reference to something in Dune?
I think everything has some kind of reference to Dune.
Okay.
In speaking with him briefly, but it's a card that I would challenge anybody to say they've seen played. Which it's a white card from Legends. If you are now getting the new spoiler for the set, it costs white, and it's a sorcery, which is not even that good. Rather, if it was an instant, you can look at the top 5 cards of any library, and then you can choose to shuffle that library. I would imagine he has it for some Eureka reshuffling here.
It works with Sylvan.
Eureka.
Also, yeah.
So I think it has some utility.
Okay.
Actually, not terrible here, to be honest with you.
I'm buying it. Okay, I'm noticing a couple other things. So the Eurekas in the photo are surrounding Hazazon,
Yes.
who must be a really important character.
Well, Dune was in the desert, right? So that would make
Yes.
a lot of flavor sense. Yeah.
On the Lady of the Mountain, you have the quote, "Fear is the mind killer," which is something that I recognize from culture. And you have the Brine Hag coaster. He's repping his club,
Nice.
along with the Lich pin, which is like Sean is like the most Lich aficionado-y guy that I have ever met in old school. Representing that as well. The Singleton Gauntlet of Might actually helps a lot of these cards, a lot of these legends that have red in their casting cost. Very, very cool. Kind of a one-of to throw in there. The Concordant Crossroads as well, like post Eureka.
It's a well thought out list.
And I'm admiring the Taiga. That I think the Taiga was donated to the LobsterCon charity raffle by Matt Gazda from the where is he? Philly, Jersey, something like that. But he donated it like near mint, unclipped. Sean won it in the raffle. He said, "You're stamping that card." I said, "Okay, I will hit it with a stamp." And then he has since clipped it, like beta clipped it. So
Nice.
full on value destruction. Beautiful, beautiful looking card.
Well, he's a Eureka Lich guy, so like this is still in his wheelhouse of cards. So this is where he tends to know his magic, especially. And it does look like it's very well thought out. I'm following a story that he really likes, but obviously he found good, I guess you want to say, synergies between the creatures and the cards and the plan. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And if you want to know more about Dune, I would suggest you hit him up. He is not a shy person and would probably love to talk to you about magic, spiciness, or Dune, or Lich.
Well, I mean, Dune is very fitting for our show also, right? The spice must flow.
Yes.
So we can...
That's true.
The spice is flowing indeed. Sean, we continue to be impressed by your work. Thanks so much for playing this in the Derby. Well, so that was like an hour and 15, 20 something minutes. Kind of a supersized Spice Files for a supersized event, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot to get to.
Yeah.
And there were some other decks that kind of were on the cusp
of
this.
Plenty.
There were good 5 to probably almost 10 more. So there was more than expected in the Derby out of 300 and something, almost 400 decks, right? It was 370 something. How many total?
375 players ultimately ended up playing matches.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, just a huge volume of old school being played over the last few weeks. Like I said, somewhere between 1,400 and 1,500 matches, which is just staggering to think about that many webcam matches popping off like constantly for, going back the last 3-4 weeks. So, I mean, just as, I guess I should just say thank you again to everyone who was a part of this. I mean, this is not something that as an organizer, you create things and you hope that they gain traction and you hope that people, continue to come and have a good time. And it's just been an amazing, validation of the community, of the work that all of us are putting in to make Old School, a great place to hang out and a great place to be and a great place to continue to experiment, even with a very, very limited card pool. The things that we see still surprise and delight us, which, for me, having been part of the Old School scene for, a solid 5+ years now, it's just wonderful to to see that enthusiasm and just to kind of have the demand from the players be the reason that kind of keeps me going and keeps me wanting to do the next one 6 months from now. So thank you.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
It is cool to see, like, with how this has taken shape and the size of the Derby, is that now you can't wait to see these decks especially from the Derby. Like, this is now a thing that people want to see what tech people are saving for either the summer or the winter Derby.
Yeah, I love that.
And now that it's growing, it's like, hey, what's going to grow within that tech space that we see? And it's exciting. You've built something very, very commendable, and we thank you for it. You are.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you manage it, even with tagging people like us to help, but you do it with ease. It's pretty cool. Pretty damn cool to watch.
At least it looks like you do it with ease. That's the appearance.
Well, it's always a pleasure. It's easy to continue to want to volunteer. So thank you guys, and thanks everyone for being a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, I guess we call it quits there. Thanks for watching, everybody, and thanks for joining us, Adam. And I guess we'll catch everyone later.
See you next time.
See ya.